ladies, it's Liz Davis and I'm coming to you again from one of my favorite places on our farm. We are standing here on our dock back at the creek and I'm getting ready to hopefully catch enough crabs on my lines to make my next appetizer recipe, which is called Not Your Ordinary Crab Dip. And also in that recipe, I'm going to give you a great tip for using brown rice tortillas into the most awesome seasoned tortilla chips to serve with your crab dip. Let's wait and see if I get any on my line. Hi ladies, I've got one on my line. I'm getting ready to pull it up. Okay, there's one down and I've got about 17 more to go before I can make my dip. Once I do that, I'll meet you back in my kitchen. Hi ladies, we're back inside and let me tell you, it took me a little while to catch enough legal size keepers to make my crab dip. But it is more than worth it to do it. Now obviously I could have gone to the seafood market and just bought a pound of crab meat, but there's nothing better than fresh seafood. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and make our dip. Here I have 2 8-ounce blocks of Philadelphia brand cream cheese that has been softened. Okay. And to that I'm going to add 1 cup of sour cream. Okay, whoops, get that out of the way. 2 tablespoons of mayo. 1 tablespoon of half and half. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. It's reduced sodium Worcestershire sauce. And then 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard. Half a teaspoon of red hot sauce. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then half a teaspoon of our Maryland style seafood seasoning. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this up really well before we add our crab meat in, because when it comes time to add our crab meat, we want to make sure that we fold it in so we don't break up any of the lumps, which are so good. And I really do find that using crab meat that you've picked out gives it just so much more flavor, because of course when you're picking out crabs, your hands have seasoning all over them and that just sort of incorporates throughout the meat. And let's face it, to buy fresh seafood at the market is a little bit too expensive for me. So if I have the time to devote to crabbing, it's so worth it. Okay, now to that I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of our Kraft 3 cheese with a touch of Philadelphia shredded cheese, and 3/4 of a cup of our shredded sharp cheddar cheese. And I'm going to go ahead and mix that up too, just so it's all well blended. Looks good. And then I'm going to go ahead and add, I have a pound of crab meat. Now you're welcome, like I said, to go to the seafood market or your local store and get a pound of lump crab meat. And this just happens to be the claw meat, the crab meat, and the back fin meat. So it's all mixed in together, which just gives it so much more flavor. The claw meat is really sweet, so it adds a nice sweetness to it. And the back fin is just decadent. It's absolutely delicious. I'm going to try to fold this in. And then the last ingredient that I have that makes it the not so ordinary crab dip is I have half a cup of country ham that I've diced into small pieces and I browned in a little saucepan to bring out all the flavors. Now country ham, I've heard it called Smithfield ham or country ham. It's a really salty ham, And the balance between the saltiness of the ham and the sweetness of the crab meat is just unbelievable. I'm going to get this all mixed up. And I have 2 containers that I'm going to put this in. And I've preheated our oven to 350 degrees. And here's my first container. And I just spread it out as much as I can. And if you want, you can sprinkle a little bit of extra cheese on top, but that isn't necessary. And I did, a lot of crab dip recipes call for just sharp cheddar cheese, but what I divided it up between the 3 cheese blend and the sharp cheese because the country ham has a little bit of a bite to it, and if you balance out with a little bit of a milder cheese mix, you don't get that bite of the sharp cheddar plus the country ham. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of this dip into my other bowl, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in our oven and bake it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Okay, while my crab dip is baking, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make our brown rice tortilla chips. And I already did one here, but actually I did a whole nother pan too. So it takes 4 brown rice tortilla chips that you're going to cut with your pizza cutter into 8 wedges. I'll just try and do that. Okay, and I've sprayed my cookie sheet with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Go ahead and move it this way so I can reach it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray the tops with olive oil. And then it takes about a teaspoon of the Maryland style seafood seasoning, and I just sprinkle that on top. And then when the crab meat is out, I'm going to go ahead and stick them underneath my broiler that's been set to low. And it'll take about 3 to 5 minutes. Just make sure you watch them because they do cook pretty quick. Okay, our crab dip is done, and of course, you know, I've got to try. After all that hard work, I've got to at least have one bite. Ooh, oh my gosh, it's so hot. I have to blow on it just a little bit. And it's creamy and so delicious. And thank you again for viewing my recipe.